What's happening, everybody? I'm Todd. Welcome to Wrestling News Now. Tonight in profile, the one and only, you're fired, Vince McMahon. How did it all happen? How did he become the billionaire within the world of wrestling sports entertainment that he is? Let's go to the very beginning, and this will probably take about 3 videos to do. So tonight, in profile, Vince McMahon. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Born the 24th of August 1945, he is an American professional wrestling promoter, executive, and media privateer. He is currently serving as the chairman and chief executive officer of WWE, the largest professional wrestling promotion in the world. He is also the founder and owner of Alpha Entertainment. McMahon was born in Pinehurst, North Carolina, and graduated from East Carolina University with a degree in business in 1968. He commentated for his father, Vincent J. McMahon, then WWF, for most of the 1970s. Bought in 1982 and almost monopolized the industry, which previously operated as separate fiefdoms across the United States. This led to the development of the annual WrestleMania, which has since become the most successful promotional wrestling event ever. WWE faced industry competition from World Championship Wrestling in the 1990s before purchasing the competing company in 2001. WWE also purchased the assets of the defunct Extreme Championship Wrestling in 2003. McMahon has embarked on a number of WWE-related ventures. In 2014, he launched the WWE Network, a subscription video on-demand over-the-top streaming service. McMahon also owns other WWE subsidiaries related to multimedia, such as film, music, and magazines, as well as a professional wrestling school system. Outside of wrestling, McMahon owned and operated the XFL, a football league. Twice both iterations folded after a single season, with the second due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He also headed the short-lived World Bodybuilding Federation and co-owns the clothing brand Todd. Pardon me, I meant to say, and he co-owns the clothing brand Tap Out. My bad, y'all. My bad. McMahon has been a familiar face to wrestling fans since the 1970s, with his public-facing career divided into 2 distinct periods. Between 1997, when he was presented almost exclusively as a personable play-by-play announcer, and his ownership of the promotion was only very rarely hinted at, and after, when he adapted his real-life persona to create the gimmick of Mr. McMahon. As Mr. McMahon, he is a wildly swagger-walking, suit-wearing, irascible tyrant, obsessed with maintaining tight, agenda-driven control of his company at any and all costs, with the loud catchphrase, "You're fired." In this likeness, he has inducted several WWE/talent into Mr. McMahon Kiss My A Club, in which he has exposed his buttocks and forced talent to kneel and kiss his butt cheeks. Under his Mr. McMahon gimmick, he occasionally competed in wrestling matches and became a 2-time world champion. How was that for being narcissistic when you own the company? Seriously. A Royal Rumble match winner and multi-time pay-per-view headliner. Vince is the eldest living member of the McMahon family that is still involved in the wrestling industry, and is a 3rd-generation wrestling promoter, following his grandfather Jess and father Vince McMahon. He married Linda in 1966, is the father of Stephanie and Shane, and father-in-law of Triple H. Vincent Kennedy McMahon was born, as I said earlier, on August 24, 1945 in Pinehurst, North Carolina, the younger sons of Victoria and Vincent James McMahon. McMahon's father left the family when he was still a baby and took his elder son, Rod, with him. So he did not meet his father until he was aged 12. McMahon's paternal grandfather was fellow promoter Roderick Jess McMahon, whose parents were immigrants of Irish descent from County Galway. His paternal grandfather, pardon for this, something's going on with my feed here. I'll take it from this. His paternal grandfather, Rose Davis, was also of Irish descent. McMahon was raised as Vinnie Lupton and spent the majority of his childhood living with his mother and stepfathers. McMahon claimed that one of his stepfathers, Leo Lupton, used to beat his mother and attacked him when he tried to protect her. He later said, quote, "It is unfortunate that he died before I could kill him. I would have enjoyed that," close quote. He attended Fishburne Military School in Waynesboro, Virginia, graduating in 1964, and also overcame dyslexia. For those of you that suffer from dyslexia, please get away from the script. Be determined to succeed, and you know what? You will. McMahon first met the promoter for Capital Wrestling Corporation, his father Vincent J. McMahon, when he was 12. At that point, McMahon became interested in following his father's professional wrestling footsteps and often accompanied him on trips to Madison Square Garden. McMahon wanted to be a wrestler, but his father did not let him, explaining that promoters did not appear on the show and should stay apart from their wrestlers. In 1968, McMahon graduated from East Carolina University with a business degree, and after a non-script career as a traveling salesman, he was eager to assume a managerial role in his father's Worldwide Wrestling Federation promotion. In 1969, McMahon made his debut as an in-ring announcer for the WWF's All-Star Wrestling. I know y'all remember that. It used to come on every Saturday. I remember in Philadelphia, it used to come on Channel 17, and they would tape right there around 45th or 46th and Market Street. In 1971, he was assigned to a small territory in Maine, where he promoted his first card. He later became the play-by-play commentator for television matches after replacing Ray Morgan in 1971, a role he regularly maintained until November 1997. In the 1970s, McMahon became a prominent force in his father's company, and over the next decade assisted his father in tripling TV syndication. He pushed for the renaming of the company to the World Wrestling Federation. The younger McMahon was also behind the Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki match of 1976. In 1979, the younger McMahon and his wife Linda founded their own company, Titan Sports, which was incorporated in the following year, and in 1982 acquired control of the CWC from his ailing father, who died in May 1984. On February 21st, 1990, McMahon officially founded Titan Sports, and the company's headquarters were established in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, using the now-defunct Cape Cod Coliseum as a home base for the company. McMahon then became chairman of the company, and his wife Linda became the co-chief executive. When he purchased the WWF, professional wrestling was a business run by regional promotions. Various promoters understood that they would not invade each other's territories, as this practice had gone on undeterred for decades. McMahon had a different vision of what the industry could become. In 1983, the WWF split from the National Wrestling Alliance a second time, after initially splitting from them in 1963 before rejoining them in 1971. The NWA became the governing body for all the regional territories across the country and as far away as Japan. He began expanding the company nationally by promoting in areas outside of the company's northeast U.S. stomping grounds and by signing talent from other companies such as the American Wrestling Federation. In 1984, he recruited Hulk Hogan, "What you gonna do, brother?" to the WWF's charismatic new megastar. And he recruited Hulk Hogan to be the WWF's charismatic new megastar, and the two quickly drew the ire of industry peers as the promotion began traveling and broadcasting in rival territories. Nevertheless, McMahon, who still also fronted as the WWF's squeaky clean babyface announcer, created the Rock and Wrestling Connection by incorporating pop music stars into wrestling storylines. As a result, the WWF was also able to expand his fan base into a national mainstream audience as the promotion was featured heavily on MTV programming. On March 31st, 1985, he ran the first WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden, available on closed-circuit television in various markets throughout the United States. McMahon's success of birthing WrestleMania in the 1980s had a significant impact on the 1980s professional wrestling boom during the Golden Age era. During the late 1980s, McMahon shaped the WWF into a unique sports entertainment brand that reached out to family audiences while attracting fans who hadn't paid attention to pro wrestling before by directing his storylines toward highly publicized supercards. McMahon capitalized on a fledgling revenue stream by promoting these events live on pay-per-view television. In 1987, the WWF reportedly drew 93,173 fans to the Pontiac Silverdome, which was called the biggest crowd in sports entertainment industry. For WrestleMania 3, which also featured the main event of Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. In 1993, the company entered the new generation era, the era with one of McMahon's toughest times since taking over the company, as business went up and down with various projects in the company. In the next episode, I'll be talking about the Attitude Era and how WWE exploded exponentially around the world. Don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to Wrestling News Now with Todd Tanner. Until next time.